Fire them up, Keisha.
At home, what a wonderful segment from Shauna and Mr. Willis Phelps. You know, Black History Month, Shauna. Black History is every day, and but since we're celebrating it as a month, it's complete now that we have seen our good friend Mr.
Absolutely.
Phelps, and now we also have joining us right now, bringing some important information and an important perspective. Our friend, part of In the Upper Room, our friend Pastor D has joined us. Welcome, Pastor
Thank
D.
you. Thank you. I enjoyed the Buffalo Soul.
Oh, we were
Buffalo
cutting up.
Soul.
I enjoyed the serenade beforehand.
We were
Oh,
cutting
boy.
up.
We were cutting up,
Pastor
man. The
D
Bob
can
Marley
sing,
I
by the
know,
way.
I know.
That's-
But you know what's funny? My mom would have known that because she can tell by his voice that he can sing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
She's one of those
Yes.
voice people.
Yes,
He
she
can
is.
tear it up.
Awesome, man. Love it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Sadly, I am here to share, and many of you viewers, their Super Bowl game and the television programming has already been interrupted, particularly on Channel 6 News, to say that we have had a Wilmington police officer shot in our city today or this evening. I took the call in my home preparing for the broadcast on tonight.
Right.
And after 5 calls from citizens, I decided to go to the Wilmington Police Department. I want to begin by saying that we are praying for this officer. I do not know a name or condition. I know only that we in the body of Christ are praying for him or her, or praying for this officer. And I mean really praying that they are all right. And so I'm asking everybody under the sound of our voice to pray. Also, the calls that came to me as a local activist or person of concern concerned some young men or some men who were taken into custody who may or may not have seen something. And the mother and 5 other citizens called me and said, Pastor D, these guys were not there at the shooting, but in the area, and were questioned along with other citizens, but were questioned. And when they didn't satisfy the questions of the police officers, allegedly, according to the citizens, they were taken into custody, and that at least one of them was brutalized. I don't know the validity of those claims. I do know they are consistent. I did go to the police station and stayed with the mother of the one involved. I did that because I actually prayed with this individual some time ago. He has a dislocated rotator cuff, and so there would have been some problem in taking him into custody. But my concern, Mike, is something you and I have talked about, climate. The idea that we want strong enforcement, we want our officers to clean up the streets and to get the guns off of the streets. We don't want them shot, we don't want them harmed. But you and I know that the climate, the atmosphere is so tense. And when we begin to perpetuate an ideology of, no hugging thugs and, tough, the street will respond in a way that almost gives some of these guys a badge of honor if they go head to head with police. And I believe that there is a role for those of us in the household of faith to play in diffusing that. I don't want to see us go the way of Chicago, of Detroit, of Los Angeles, of Philadelphia, and of New York. All of these are cities where I know the climate between police and community and the danger index is so high that citizens will fire upon police officers. And so I think that it's very important for our new chief and certainly for our new mayor to consider that the Constitution of the United States is a wonderful and marvelous document that protects all citizens and even police officers, and that this incident may be our first incident that we can look at and say, where is the line? What is permissible and what is not permissible? Because nobody's going to talk to the police in broad daylight in open air community traffic. That's not going to happen because the citizens are afraid too. They have every reason to be. So there has to be some thought given to what the tactics should be and what our constitutional rights are. I certainly believe that if you believe I have some valuable information and I won't cooperate, subpoena me. You know, like the law calls for. Take my address, take my name, and subpoena me as a material witness. And there's even a process that if you don't cooperate, you can be charged with contempt of court. But I think this is a very important day in the history of our city because of this incident and because we're going to have to decide what the rules of engagement are for citizens. This mom, Sonia, who I was at the police station with, is a non-criminal person. The son has not been in trouble that I know of for some time. And as far as the citizens are concerned, was only in his neighborhood and just did not want to participate in communicating information to the police at that time. Now, that's all I know. So to be fair to the police, and again, with emphasis on the fact that the most important thing happening right now is we have a police officer that's been shot. I don't want more of this to happen, but I did prophesy right on this show. I did sit in this chair and say, you know, it's getting ready to go down because when you put certain rhetoric in the atmosphere, it creates an atmosphere.
A combustible atmosphere.
It definitely does. Malcolm X called it a powder keg. Dr. King said violence under any conditions, whether it comes from the rhetoric of politicians or the bullets of the bad guys, violence is wrong. And somebody has to be the voice to say love is a way out. Nonviolence is a way out.
Yeah. You know, thank you for that, Pastor. And you know, I don't know if I was saying it on this program or not, but one of the things that people have to agree with is that, you know, you are serving as a minister.
Right.
You know, you're not just holding a title.
Right.
And I agree that, you know, the most important thing is the well-being and recovery for the injured officer. And as we were speaking before, that peace has to be the rule of the day. How do we preserve or restore, you know, peace?
Well, you know, Mayor Williams, when he was campaigning, I was one of the candidates. After I got out of the race at the Easy on Fair debate and others, was asked, how will you approach the violence in the streets? At that time, he said, you know, I'll reach out to Pastor D, I'll reach out to people who have, and I really expect Mayor Williams to do that. Not necessarily me per se, but that type of outreach is still necessary. And I think if you start the enforcement arm, if you start bringing this tension and heat to the street, you got to have that balance of the other kind of outreach where we win some of the. You'd be surprised how many people out there really don't want to be in a dangerous situation and don't want to remain outside of lawful living, but they've got to be invited in. They got to be won. So others need to be taught, others need to be led, and then some of us do need to be locked up. But the process of making that happen, of achieving the goal, what I believe is the goal of the mayor and the new administration. Achieving the goal of a safe city is going to require more than just strong enforcement. And you know, when a police officer's been hurt, man, listen, it is not safe for a black man on the streets of Wilmington or any urban area, simply because, not necessarily because they're going to retaliate, but they intend for swift justice to occur so that society gets the message that you don't go around shooting police officers. Now, there should be the same intensity when anybody is murdered, but which lends credibility to the idea, to the criminal element that maybe the police are just another gang. Now, I don't buy into that ideology, but the thought is out there, and it needs to be dispelled. at the police station, I must be honest and say that there are certain sergeants and what have you who have been around a long time who are just nasty. They are just mean for no good reason. This mother was there to find out what was going on with her son.
Yeah.
She was on the phone coaching a lady through when the shooting of the police officer happened. Get in the floor, crawl, imagine, and then she hears your son's been taken for questioning, not for doing it, but, and then she comes to the police station to say, what, what's going on with my son? I understand he was hurt. And I witnessed the condescending, sarcastic mannerisms of this particular sergeant, and I've seen her do it a number of times. She needs to stop. That kind of thing needs to stop. It does not. It is not, first of all, lawful. It's not, because there are professional codes of standards and codes of conduct that the police are bound to, and no matter how you laugh about it behind my back and in my presence, I want to see you honor them. So I just think the floodgate can be open to a lot of additional violence, a lot of additional hardship and harm to the citizens of Wilmington if we do not speak up and stand up at this time. It makes it more dangerous for police officers, and it certainly makes it more dangerous for the average man. Right now in Wilmington, we got a young crew of young boys that's running around, beating people up, jumping on people, seeing if they could get a headshot. A headshot. It's a headshot. Shoot you in the head. It's a real group of young people running around Wilmington, seeing who can get the best headshot. That's going on. We have a suicide pact of teenage girls, rather large. That's going on. We have 3 major gangs operating between Northeast Wilmington and the west side of Wilmington. That's going on. And then we have some gun runners who come through here on specific days of the month, what have you, who are, so that's going on. Now, all of this information is certainly not unique to me, and I'm sure police intelligence has some information, but how to do something about it is another question. And I think you need all of us, those who have an anointing for that kind of work, those who have the authority to arrest people, those who have the education to prosecute people, and those who have the psychological, sociological, and what have you ability to help people with mental disease. Those, all of us must work hand in hand together, but all too often what happens in Wilmington is people forget what got them there. I've had thousands of calls about the county and how we sat on this and Tom Gordon's promises to help me, and how Josie and I worked together through the campaign. And all of those people have now, kind of dissed Pastor D. That's fine. I'm a big boy. I was doing this work before anybody promised to do anything. And if you saw Django, then we got some folk that specialize in keeping us out of the house. My greater concern is that the danger index. I don't want it dangerous when my sister walks to her car.
Right.
Because we in government, or we in the street, or we anywhere else have been so puffed up, arrogant, egotistical, and proud that we could not work together to make it safer for her and my wife. I think that's treason on the part of a minister or just a regular old dad.